The northern front had turned into hell. It was being ravaged by the Habataki, a bird that soared through dimensions. The blood-red knights and the black numbers were being overwhelmed by Habataki, powerless to do anything. Blood sprayed, limbs flew through the air. What the hell is this? Just what is happening? Ultima was not here. Therefore, they had been unable to recognize the danger of the enemy until they were face to face with it. This is bad, muttered Adalmann. He had finally grasped the situation, but it wasn't because Adalmann was slow. The massacre had begun without any signal for the start of battle, and not even a minute had passed yet. There had been no time to observe the situation, and countermeasures would have to be thought of from now on. In response to Adalmann, Gadra shares his thoughts. Teleportation is it? Moreover, judging from the radiance of its entire body, those wings are likely made of King. The impression Habataki gave was that of a twin-headed eagle wrapped in golden feathers. From the tip of its head to the end of its tail, its total length was roughly 3 meters. For a bird, it would be considered large, but as a mystical beast, it falls on the smaller side. However, its ferocity and combat abilities are believed to be among the strongest within the cryptid race. Suiemu is the fastest and excels in long-distance travel. In contrast, Habataki is slower than Suiemu and doesn't achieve high speeds over long distances. Yet, Habataki is stronger than Suiemu. The very reason for this is the teleportation that Gadra pointed out. I see. It accelerates, teleports and slices through enemies without losing momentum. It seems similar to Glendasama's authority, but it seems there is no fluctuation in space. The refinement is at a level close to instantaneous movement, making it difficult to grasp the appearance point with magic perception. With Glenda's unique skill Sniper, a distortion occurs in space at the moment of space connection, making the appearance point predictable. However, in Habataki's case, the appearance point could be set freely. Since it appears simultaneously with the distortion of space, it is a similar but different authority. If it's impossible to evade after sensing, then, as Gadra said, this is an authority that is extremely close to instantaneous movement. You all, this is no time to be dawdling and explaining. It was Popluus who spoke in anger. Seeing the miserable state of his subordinates, he was clearly enraged. However, since the blood-red knights are nearly immortal, not a single one has died. They are repairing the loss of their bodies with self-regeneration, so while they cannot immediately return to the front lines, they can be revived given time. The black numbers are truly impressive, maintaining the front lines. Initially, there were signs of disturbance, but by deploying multiple layered barriers around the area, it seems they have made it easier to predict the appearance of Habataki. As expected of Diablo's direct subordinates, they are an incredibly battle-hardened group. Adalmann and Gadra, having been cautioned by Lewis, exchanged glances. The enemies were not just Habataki. A variety of monstrous creatures were also emerging from the gate. If left unchecked, the situation could become irreparable. Indeed, it seems this is no time to be idle. True. Then, I shall also join the fray. The two nodded in agreement and switched their focus to combat mode. Everyone, rest assured. Our god is still with us. I shall now show you proof of this as a miracle. Holy magic, great high heal and great regeneration. Having regained a physical body, Adalmann had perfectly recovered the sensations of his holy works from his previous life. Moreover, he skillfully could switch between healing humans and demons, wielding restorative magic of both attributes. This was truly remarkable and aided the warriors who were striving to regenerate themselves. The instantly revived warriors then challenged enemies that matched their own strength. Albert and Wenti positioned themselves to protect Adalmann. Seeing this, Gadra then moved. I too wish to annihilate the enemy with large-scale magic, but capturing that seems difficult. Well, there are ways to handle it regardless. With those words, he charged into the chaotic battlefield. Reborn as a metal demon, Gadra had also mastered close combat magic. Although his martial arts were still lacking, he compensated with magic, displaying considerable combat prowess. Against opponents like the cryptids, who had no knowledge of martial arts, he was more than sufficient and began to wreak havoc on the battlefield. Hearing such conversations, Gunther also reflected on himself with a sigh. Outmaneuvered from the start, but I can't just accept defeat like this. Indeed. It seems other enemies are appearing as well, and this is no time for you to be spectating from the sidelines, is it? At Gunther's words, Lewis also nodded. These two are not particularly close, but they are not on bad terms either. They simply dislike encroaching on each other's territory, but when it comes to cooperating, they can truly demonstrate their worth. Luminous Sama is watching, so let's go all out. Indeed. Let us ensure that the name of the divine ancestor's esteemed disciple is not dishonored, and let the power of Gunther Strauss be known far and wide. In this low, Luminous, who had turned her attention to the north, issued a rallying cry. Do NT falter, and swiftly counterattack. The battle had begun just over a minute ago. Even in the northern lands, from the very start, there was no holding back, and the conflict escalated into an all-out war. In this way, fierce battles were raging in all directions, centered around the Heaven Tower. Luminous was overseeing the entire battlefield, but the area that was particularly tense was, as expected, the eastern region where Ivorage was located. Super awakened beings like Kanata and Calgurio, who were of the million class, were facing multiple humanoid phantom beasts. Powerful individuals like Xian and Minutes were steadily defeating single opponents. The others were fighting in groups of 3 against 1, doing their best to minimize casualties. Supporting these warriors was Luminous's holy magic. Did I make a mistake in my arrangements? Luminous pondered whether she should have deployed more healers to each faction, but she quickly reconsidered, believing that this was still the best possible arrangement. Thanks to Rammus's labyrinth, the number of holy magic users had increased. Although she hadn't anticipated such a situation, this outcome could be considered fortunate. Nevertheless, there were still many issues. Even if there were enough healers, they also needed combat power to protect the healers themselves. It was crucial to maintain a balanced deployment, and it was inevitable that there would be times when healing couldn't keep up. For these reasons, Luminous had to keep an eye on the entire battlefield. Naturally, this placed the greatest burden on her. While she remained vigilant against Ivorage and provided healing at key points, an unexpected disaster struck. The remnants of the Angel Army, led by Jahil, descended like a nightmare. Gahaha. I've come personally to deal with you, Luminous. Seeing the evil demon laughing maniacally as he descended from the sky, Luminous clicked her tongue in annoyance. To interfere at a time like this, as always, you're a man who can't read the mood. Luminous deeply despised Jahil. Moreover, his appearance at this moment was nothing but harmful, with no benefit whatsoever. Indeed, Jahil's target was Luminous, and he charged in as if the other insignificant beings on the battlefield were beneath his notice. Hinata, noticing Jahil, attempted to fly toward him, but Luminous stopped him. The battlefield was already stretched thin, and with Jahil's forces adding to the chaos, Luminous judged that if Hinata were to leave, the balance of power would collapse. Just as Jahil had intended, Luminous was left without any defenders, creating the perfect situation for him. Heaven is on my side. Well, of course it is. For I, Jahil, the Supreme Sorcerer Emperor, am destined to become the supreme ruler of this world. With an arrogant and disdainful tone, Jahil flashed a vulgar grin. Infuriated by his words, Luminous retorted. Preposterous. A man of such vile character as you could never become a true ruler. She dismissed his claim with a scornful laugh, as if it were nothing more than a joke. The two were as incompatible as oil and water. Luminous and Jahil, two titans, stood facing each other in silence. For Luminous, her true desire was to eliminate Jahil. However, to her dismay, Jahil's strength was genuine. Moreover, he wielded the Origin Blood Spear, a weapon that greatly amplified his power. Engaging him head-on would be foolish. If only I could set a trap and devise a strategy, then perhaps I could finish him off. Even if they were to fight here, Luminous believed she could maneuver in a way that would prevent her defeat. Though difficult, she was confident in her ability to do so. However, it was impossible to destroy Jahil. The difference in the amount of magic energy was fatal. Luminous excelled in indirect tactics. By using the faith of the warriors on the battlefield and their brains as computational devices to perform parallel processing, she could unleash large-scale magical formulas that reached the realm of the divine. This was the essence of the divine secret art known as Sanctuary. By utilizing this, it was possible to wield sacred magic beyond the limits of an individual, but in her current state, it was impossible. To put it simply, she could only use the preset magical formulas. In this case, there were only two. The constantly active regeneration and the emergency use resurrection. While these were optimal as support magic, to defeat Jahil, disintegration was necessary. There's no time to alter the formulas now. Even if I were to activate disintegration using my own magic, it likely wouldn't be enough to destroy him. First, the range is too narrow to even hit him. Disintegration operates at the speed of light once activated, but before that, it is necessary to capture and contain the target. This is the difficult part, and it is said to be ineffective against powerful opponents. The ideal strategy is to incapacitate the enemy, restrict their movements, and then finish them off with disintegration. However, Luminous has judged that she herself lacks the strength to do so. Despite this, Jahil is not letting his guard down against Luminous. That damnable wretch. She might have some trigger-hidden technique up her sleeve, so attacking recklessly would be foolish. Whether it should be called admirable or something else, it's worth noting. As they share the same creator, their thought processes are somewhat similar. That said, Jahil believes that brute force might still work. However, there is a lingering fear that she might escape if he relies solely on that. Even the divine ancestor, who is like a god to Jahil, was destroyed by Luminous, who now stands before him. If he doesn't finish her off decisively when he has the chance, it might be his turn to be defeated next. From the state of this battlefield, there doesn't seem to be any sign of the kind of trap that took down the divine ancestor. Jahil sneered wickedly, as if he had already won without the need for traps. Then, carefully and meticulously, he began to refine the infernal flames of the ultimate enchantment. King of Flames, and I. Luminous sensed the danger. Such tremendous power, but what should I do? Luminous was confident that she wouldn't lose to an opponent who relied solely on brute force. However, there were naturally limits to that. Against a dragon species like Valdora, she was fully aware that no matter what tricks or underhanded tactics she employed, she could never truly defeat him. His recovery speed far outpaced any damage she could deal. Thus, her strategy revolved around harassing him and looking for an opening to exploit. However, such tactics wouldn't work against someone like Jahil. Compared to Valdora, Jahil wasn't much of a threat, but if the battle continued like this, it was likely to turn into a tedious affair for Luminous. Jahil unleashed a massive fireball, brimming with enough heat to incinerate Luminous. Rather than taking it head-on, Luminous deployed a compressed barrier with both hands to deflect the energy, and for the remaining force, she activated divine speed regeneration to avoid instant death. Pushed back by the fireball, Luminous landed on the ground. The surrounding terrain had turned molten, like magma, a testament to the sheer destructive heat of the fireball. Yet, Luminous remained calm and compass. Don't underestimate me, she boldly retorted to Jahil. The energy she had lost had already been recovered through her ultimate skill, King of Lust, Asmodeus. If it came down to a prolonged battle, she had plenty of ways to handle it. However, she lacked a decisive means to defeat Jahil, and one wrong move could spell her doom. She maintained a bold front to keep Jahil from realizing this, waiting for him to tire or make a mistake. In terms of skill level, Luminous held the advantage. As long as this advantage remained, she prayed that the situation would turn in her favor. And here, the luck of Luminous, the divine, would explode. An unexpected ally appeared. It was two people, a beautiful woman in a suit and a petite girl, Kagali and Tear. You must be the demon lord Luminous. That individual is our enemy as well. We would like to join forces here. What do you say? With a stern expression, Kagali made the offer. Luminous was not one to refuse such a proposal. Using whatever was available was Luminous's creed and way of life. Very well. Make sure you prove useful to me. With an air of arrogance, Luminous agreed to team up with Kagali and the others.